And we do have some breaking news to report, and it's extremely sad. Malcolm Jamal Warner, the actor most famous for his role as Bill Cosby's son, Theodore Huxtable, on the NBC hit sitcom The Cosby Show in the 80s and early 90s, has died. Police say he drowned off the coast of Costa Rica yesterday while vacationing with his family.
Life, it's fragile, and in the blink of an eye,
you never know.
You never know. So speaking of legacy, what do you hope that your legacy is going to be?
It made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We talk about comedy, whatever.
There's part of me that I will be able to leave this earth, knowing and people knowing that I was a good person.
The mystery around Malcolm Jamal's death is spiraling out of control, and now it's hitting a whole new level of shocking. Dave Chappelle, after laying low for ages, just came forward with a bombshell. Malcolm didn't just drown. According to him, someone made sure he never came back after refusing to sell his soul. Dave knows his game all too well. Years back, he faced the same type of pressure, and the only reason he's still breathing is because he vanished across the globe without even telling his own family where he was. People laughed in his face, called him crazy, and wrote him off until the truth started matching his story. Sadly, Malcolm believed a simple no would protect him, but if Dave and Cat Williams have taught us anything, it's that saying no in this business comes with a target on your back. About a week ago, Malcolm was out swimming in Costa Rica enjoying the water when reports say a sudden current dragged him farther into the ocean. Another man was pulled in too. Both were rescued by quick-thinking bystanders. But Malcolm didn't make it. They tried everything. CPR, medical attention from the Costa Rican Red Cross. But after 45 relentless minutes, he was declared gone right there on the beach. TMZ even released exclusive footage of Malcolm arriving in Costa Rica, all smiles, ready to soak in the sun and head back home to his loved ones. But behind the scenes, it seems like certain powerful figures he refused to play ball with may have had other, much darker plans. People aren't buying the tragic accident story, and whispers of foul play are spreading fast.
What? The actor Malcolm Jamal Warner has died. First of all, rest in peace to him. He seemed like a very stand-up guy, positive role model. But I looked into this whole thing and it gets weird. First, let's start with the age he died at, which is 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. You guys know about my 9 videos, and 9 is the number of completion. But also, the show that he was famous for, The Cosby Show, in Gematria equals up to 54 as well. Then let's go to the date he actually died on, which is July 20th, which is the 201st day of the year. Yeah, can anybody tell me why The Cosby Show ran for a total of 8 seasons, equaling 201 episodes? How? In which is the same number as this event 201, which was a simulation of COVID in October of 2019, right before they actually had COVID. Something tells me that we have to watch for this number in future events. Now, speaking of 9 and 201, Ozzy Osbourne has just died as well. He just performed his last concert just a couple weeks ago called Back to the Beginning, which is an odd title like they almost knew. But here's the thing. The attendance of that venue is 45,000. 4 plus 5 is 9. Now, you could call that coincidence, but here's the thing. His full name in Gematria is also 201. What are the chances, right? Make sure you guys get into my Break the Matrix community because I have a whole decode section just for stuff like this.
The biggest reason people are side-eyeing Malcolm's accidental death is because just days before jetting off to Costa Rica, he was already making waves online, and not the vacation kind. He had been trending for spilling some ugly truths about the industry, calling out powerful figures who, according to him, dangled millions in front of his face to star in movies and projects that went completely against his morals. They wanted him to sell his soul, plain and simple, in exchange for a fortune. But Malcolm wasn't having it. He made it clear he wasn't rocking with those offers and walked away, no matter how big the check was.
I was very fortunate coming out the gate with Cosby, which put me in a position where, and because I've always had a good team around me, I've always been in a position where I've had the luxury of being meticulous about the kind of roles that I choose. My mom was really instrumental in getting me to understand the concept of longevity, the concept of being versatile within this business, because she would always say, if you look at anyone in this business who's had longevity, there are times when they've been hot and times when they've not been hot. You have to decide what you're going to do during those times when you're not hot, so you're not making desperate acting choices.
For the title is
combating the narrative of Black life or Black culture that the media focuses on. And
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The Black community is not. There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip hop because it's low-lying fruit. It's so easy. Everybody fucking does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole. But I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing nigga and bitch. Because I've spent, so much of the early part of my life listening to, being celebrated on one hand, but paying way too much attention to the naysay.
And here's where it gets even wilder. Malcolm wasn't the only star to pull back the curtain lately. Another big name, Chloe Bailey, also went public about being handed a deal to sell her soul in exchange for a mega career boost. She dropped this bombshell live on camera after someone asked if she had seen Sinners and Babies.
Did you see Sinners? Yes, I saw Sinners. It was phenomenal. I absolutely freaking loved it. Can I be honest? After Sinners, I cried. Do you want to know why I cried? Yes or no? Or you're just like, Chloe, you cried because you're a crybaby. You're still me. Okay, so I think anyone who, it just reminds you so much of the industry, right? And it's like, you could have a gift like he did with his guitar. And like they said, when he's singing, he's honoring his ancestors and uplifting and all of that, but then it also attracts the not good. So it's like, in order for him to be successful, the vampires were telling him he has to sell out so that he could be, that he could live forever and his music could live forever. And it's exactly like things that I see and go through every day. And that's why I just broke down crying, because it was showing the people who decided not to go to the other side, they were in there fighting for their lives. They were in there going through it. While the ones who did give in, they were outside celebrating and having a good time.
And her response had people's jaws on the floor. With Chloe's confession hitting the scene just as Malcolm's story was unfolding, the conspiracy chatter only got louder. The whole thing was giving people flashbacks to Dave Chappelle's saga.
So the reason why Sinners resonated with me so much is because it's something that you see every day. And no matter how hard you work, no matter how good of a person that you are, no matter how talented you are, sometimes that's not enough to get you places that you need to be. And that's why Sinners, I was crying right after, because I feel like anyone in the industry could really resonate with it. And it also showed that what you have to give negativity permission to be inside. And as long as you don't invite it in, you'll be okay and safe. So that's why I really resonated with Sinners. And I thought it was so beautiful. I thought it was done so beautifully. And I'm just really proud of everyone who was a part of it. And I even cried when he was singing in the bar, and you see all the different, the history, all of the ancestors that came before us.
Except this time, it was like watching Dave Chappelle 2.0. The difference? Dave survived to tell his side, even if it meant being labeled crazy and dragged through the tabloids. Malcolm, tragically, didn't get that same chance. Dave Chappelle's storm hit way back in 2006 during that now infamous interview with Oprah Winfrey, and trust, it was heated. Fresh off rejecting a $50 million deal from Comedy Central, Dave made it clear there was some shady baggage attached to that money that he just couldn't roll with. But while he was trying to break it down, Oprah kept cutting him off, pushing him to admit he had some kind of mental illness, which he flat out didn't. The wildest part, those mental health rumors started flying right after Dave revealed that certain Hollywood executives were pressuring him to take antipsychotic meds. It was like the moment he spoke up, they turned the narrative against him.
I didn't tell anybody where I was going. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah. Like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on. So, this was troublesome.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you. I was afraid,
But you were stressed out. That's why.
There's no question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind you and say, You're insane.
For some background, Mace, rewind to 2005. Dave shocked everyone when he suddenly dipped out in the middle of filming season 3 of The Chappelle Show. No goodbye, no big announcement. He just bounced to South Africa, and the media, they had a field day tearing him apart. Overnight, they plastered headlines calling him unstable, hinting he was on something, and painting him as a man spiraling out of control. Dave kept clapping back at the lies, even telling the New York Times, "I'm not crazy, I'm not smoking crack, I'm definitely stressed out. There were things that overwhelmed me, but not in the way that people are saying." But the smear campaign didn't slow down, and people ate it up like it was gospel. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about a $50 million check. It was about trying to force him into selling out everything he believed in. And when he stood firm, they came for him with such force that he had no choice but to vanish overseas, fearing for his own safety.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
But like I said, Dave wasn't the only one who faced this type of heat. Cat Williams went through it too.
Something you long believed to be true but realized wasn't.
Well, as one of the main opponents of the Illuminati, I always wanted to know what information they had that we didn't. Let's make choices. I think it's not a biggest choice for others. I'm saying at the end of the day, Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress wearing people before him. So now we have Big Mama's house 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've never seen Medea in a pantsuit. I think she wears dresses. So now I'm saying, why are we picking on poor little Kevin Hart? Because it was his turn next. Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us.
And a lot of people believe Malcolm would have been dragged into the same storm if he had survived. Remember when Jaguar claimed that Cat almost lost his life after armed men stormed into his home in the dead of night? No one really knows how he made it out alive. But according to Jaguar, Cat was so shaken that he started sleeping in a Kevlar vest every single night.
Walking away was hard, but it was when the Illuminati first started coming after him. And I'll never forget the day when they breached the house. And I left. You know, back in that moment, Cat was still wearing Kevlar to bed. To bed. I would get in bed with him at night and he would have Kevlar on.
Wow.
In bed.
What was it about that and him at the moment where it made you want to speak your
He
truth?
went after Comedy Central. That's what happened. The Flavor Flav roast. The moment that I knew the Snoop Dogg is sold out.
And for those who don't know, Kevlar is basically bulletproof body armor. That's how real he thought the threat was. So if these whispers about Malcolm are true, then Chloe Bailey and any other celeb getting those sell your soul offers better move real careful because these people clearly don't play. Of course, the public had plenty to say. One person wrote, Oprah knew exactly what he was talking about. She looked uncomfortable, scratching her neck all nervous because she knows they're doing shady stuff. And she's part of the club. Another said, when I heard that, I knew something was off. Different narratives mean something was done. And then there were the ones questioning the official story outright. I just don't buy that he'd take his family there to swim or go that far out himself, leaving his daughter alone on the shore. Where was his wife? Who was the other guy? The more people dig, the more this accident sounds like a perfectly crafted cover-up.
Rican Beach, where officials say a dangerous rip current swept away Malcolm Jamal Warner. The Cosby Show star drowning in secluded paradise on Sunday.
What makes that beach so treacherous? You know, it's similar to other beaches where there are strong rip currents that are deceiving.
Mike Geist helps run a volunteer lifeguard organization here. He says while no lifeguards were on duty that day, Geist's friend, who happens to be a trained lifeguard, was there to surf and discovered Warner unresponsive in the water.
You know, the first thing that they do is they bring him to the surface and give the emergency respirations. Right there in the water on the surfboard. And when he didn't respond to that, my friend rapidly took him into the beach and they immediately began CPR.
These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current. These are the first things we saw when we pulled up to the beach. Signs in Spanish and English warning people about potentially hazardous conditions. This sign even giving a roadmap for how to escape a rip current.
Now here's where things get even more suspicious. The identity of that other guy who was pulled from the water with Malcolm still hasn't been made public. No name, no background, no nothing. It's like he vanished into thin air right after the incident. Some people are even wondering if he was planted there, either to watch Malcolm or to make sure the story played out a certain way. And the timeline, that's not adding up either. Reports say Malcolm was immediately given CPR, but eyewitnesses claim there was a strange gap before help actually got to him. One tourist even told a local outlet that it looked like certain people on the beach weren't in any rush to assist, almost like they were waiting for something. By the time the Costa Rican Red Cross arrived, 45 minutes had already passed, and everyone knows the survival chances drop fast in those situations. On top of that, there are whispers about a security camera from a nearby beachfront cafe catching footage of the whole thing, yet mysteriously, that footage hasn't been released. Some locals say officials came in, grabbed the tapes, and that was the last anyone saw of them. And let's not forget, Malcolm had been vocal about turning down those multi-million-dollar offers just days before this trip. He wasn't shy about calling out the shady side of the business, and we've seen how that plays out for others. Dave fleeing the country, Kat sleeping in body armor, Chloe openly warning about the same type of deals. It's almost like there's a script for how this ends if you say no. And Malcolm's story is hitting every beat. Online, people are piecing this together like a crime board, connecting his case to other mysterious Hollywood accidents. One comment that's going viral says it all. When the same thing keeps happening to people who speak out, it's not a coincidence. It's a pattern.
How people feel about the ritual. It's about does following the ritual work. Yeah. And so you can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear. So like when I be like, oh, these guys are wearing dresses. Everybody's like, oh, he keeps talking about people wearing dresses. No, it's not. It's a weird thing. It's not like that. Look at it from a different way. Look at it. Show me one person that ever wore a dress in Hollywood unsuccessfully.
This Kendrick and Drake beef, which, you know, they talk about how much they hate each other and give all these references to violence and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Do you think, even though we enjoy those songs and they're bops, do you think that has a detrimental impact upon the culture ultimately?
Ultimately, yes. It's been normalized for, you know, us to call ourselves the N-word, right? And we like to talk about how we've taken the power of that word back. But I'm of the school of thought. If I'm trying to speak love and upliftment to my brother, why am I going to borrow a word from people who use the word because they hate me?
If these theories hold any weight, then Malcolm's death isn't just a tragedy. It might be another chapter in a long, dangerous playbook. And the scariest part? Whoever's behind it clearly has the power to make it all look like nothing more than bad luck. What's really sending chills down people's spines is how Malcolm's case seems to fit right into a long list of stars who either vanished went crazy, or turned up dead after saying no to the wrong people. Online sleuths have been digging, and the names they're putting together are enough to make anyone uneasy. We're talking about actors, musicians, and even behind-the-scenes power players, all of them connected by one thing. They refused to bend, and suddenly their careers collapsed. Their reputations were shredded, or they accidentally lost their lives. Some of these cases date back decades, but the playbook hasn't changed. It's just gotten cleaner, slicker, harder to trace. In Malcolm's case, folks are pointing out eerie similarities to other deaths that happened under bizarre circumstances. One YouTuber even lined up timelines showing how each person, right before their downfall, had been speaking openly about industry secrets or strange offers. And every time, the official story was wrapped up in a neat little bow: drugs, depression, freak accidents, or some random tragedy.